For veg you can plant in the garden now, and that's brought to you with the support of King Seeds and Cobra Garden. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, here we are now, end of October, early November. Weather's fairly mild, but it's definitely autumn. Leaves are falling and the veg garden is still got some winter crops in there. Most people think that's the end of the veg gardening for the year, but there are still things you can be planting now to get a crop for next year. So we're going to put 4 in just to get started. And the first one we're going to put in is garlic. And last year we did a video on planting the giant garlic, the elephant garlic, and I've got some more to plant this year, and these are the cloves. You can see these are really big cloves of the elephant garlic, but what we're going to show you today is planting the ordinary garlic, and there are lots of different varieties available. Buy ones that are good for the UK. This one is Solent White. It comes from the Isle of Wight and it grows great in our climate, so nice healthy bulb there. And what we can do is you've got to split that into the individual cloves. Okay, so if I just pop them there, you just need a bit of strength in your thumb to get the individual cloves. And from a bulb like this, I expect to get at least 10, if not a dozen or more individual cloves like that. So you can see these are strong, healthy cloves like that. So just work your way around and take the layers off. So 2 things we can do with those. We can plant them out directly into the garden now if we want to. So each one of those will grow and form a big bulb that we will lift next summer. Garlic is hardy. It needs a period of cold weather to sort of break the dormancy. It encourages a strong root system, but then it encourages the bulb to swell. So don't worry if you think the weather's going to turn cool, it will be fine. What I tend to do with it is I can plant it directly in the garden. So I've prepared a bit of ground here. This is going to be the onion bed next year as part of the rotation. And I would plant that, make a little hole there with my trowel. I'm going to pop the clove down into there, and I don't know whether Jill can see that. We want it so it goes below the surface. I want about 1 inch of soil above that clove. We'll do another one there, because if we leave the tips out like that, the blackbirds will pull them out. So we need to make sure that they are buried over and covered over like that. So that's one way to do it. Now, if your soil is a little bit wet and claggy and it stays wet over the winter months, then you can start them off in modules like this. And this works really well, and I will probably do that this year just because of space. So this is just a module tray full of compost. And then I'm just going to make a hole and I'm going to push that clove down into there like that. So they pretty much just disappear. So I can get 12 in this tray and then just cover them over, water them, and they can go in a cold frame outside, or if you've got a cold greenhouse, but certainly they don't need any heat. They will make a shoot, make a really strong root system over winter, and then late winter, early spring, we can pop them out, plant them into the garden. Either way works, and that's a great way to do it. So you can get on straight away with your garlic. The other thing we can be planting at this time of the year are onions. These are what we call the overwintering onions, and we plant them in the autumn. They make a good root system, a young plant, and then grow away again in the spring. And the advantage of growing these is they're hardy, but they also produce lovely onions for us early summer, whereas the spring planted onion sets like this are going to be late summer, early autumn. So it just brings an advanced crop on. So again, these are going to go in the onion bed next to the garlic. I'm spacing them at least 30 centimeters apart in the rows, and we plant these so that, again, they're a bit slippery. You can make a hole with your finger or your little dibber or a trowel and push them in so that the top of the bulb is just below the surface. So we don't want to go too deep. But a little tip, if you get one like that that's got last year's old foliage off, if we plant that in the ground, again, the blackbirds will pull that out. So I just gently pull that off and then space these about 15 centimeters apart, and then push that in so it's just below the surface, and that will root really, really quickly and start to grow. And again, if you want to, you can start those off in module trays and put those out in early spring if your ground isn't prepared. And finally, in the same bed, because this one next year will be the onion and the legumes, I'm going to put some broad beans in here. This is a dwarf one. We grew some earlier this year. This one is called the Sutton, so it only grows to about 30 to 45 centimetres, a foot to 18 inches. Lovely seeds in there, and we can either plant these directly into the ground, or we can start them off in modules again, put them in a cold frame and plant them out in the spring. But certainly we can start them growing now. And the very final thing is in the other bed. It will be the cabbage bed next year. At the moment it's got the last of the onions and the leeks in there, but next year this will be full of all the lovely brassicas as part of the rotation system. I also need to apologise for the state of these cabbages. These are spring cabbages. The seed was sown several weeks ago in these modules. They were making really lovely plants, and then a butterfly got on them, a cabbage white. I thought they'd all gone, laid eggs, caterpillars hatched out and had a bit of a munch. I got rid of them, and they've recovered. They're going to be fine. But this is the perfect time to plant them out now in autumn. The soil is still really warm. I tested, it's about 9 degrees, which is really warm, and will get the roots growing. Too late to sow them from seed, but you better buy young plants at this time of the year from your local nursery or garden centre. So the ground's been prepared, and I'm literally just going to pop these out of the cells like that, make a hole. We want to plant these a little bit deeper, so we're burying some of that stem. That doesn't matter. Just push the soil around and give them a firm, because they will root out of that stem. And let's get another one here. So we can see a nice root system, a long stem. These want to be probably about 10 inches apart. Go away, little worm. 10 inches apart, 20 centimetres, because they only make small plants. A little bit deeper to bury that stem so they don't blow over, and a good firm like that. So I'm going to plant a row of those across here. They won't make an awful lot of growth over winter, but come spring, a little bit of feed, they'll grow away, and come next late March, April into May, we'll have delicious spring greens from them. So although you might think it's autumn and everything is slowed right down in the veg garden, there are still things you can be sowing and planting now to enjoy next year. Well, thank you for watching Pots and Trowels. And if you want to take advantage of King's special offer to our followers, if you go to their website, kingseeds.com, and put in the code PT2024, you'll get 10% off all their seeds. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week. See you then. Bye.